everyone, this is Crystal, and today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how I print at home. So I mentioned recently in a video that I've changed the way that I do my at-home printing, and I'm really happy with it. So I just wanted to share that with you and let you know my process in case you're wondering how you can print things at home and have them feel and look as good a quality as the things that you buy already printed. So let's start with photos. I have a Canon Pixma MG5720, I believe. I'll link it down below. It's a really inexpensive printer. It's not fancy at all, but it does a really good job. I did a lot of reading of reviews before I purchased it, and everyone that I read was positive. So I went ahead and got it. It's wireless, and it replaced a previous Canon Pixma that I had that I was very happy with, but I wanted a wireless printer. So I switched to the 5720, and I've been super happy with it. The ink is expensive, but all ink is expensive. This isn't any more expensive than any other printer that I've had, and the ink actually tends to last me a bit longer than my last one. So I've been really happy with it. When I print at home, I print on Canon photo paper, not because I have a Canon printer, just because I really like the quality of the Canon photo printer. So I have 4x6 photo paper in Plus Glossy 2. This is my absolute favorite paper for printing photos for Project Life and even on my scrapbook pages. I don't send any photos to be printed out of my house anymore. I used to send them off to different places. I tried a bunch of different ones. I was never happy with any of them, but I'm super happy with the quality of photo printing I have with my Canon. And I've considered purchasing a separate photo printer, but I really don't think it's necessary. It would just be another piece of equipment sitting around my desk when you know, my regular printer does just fine. So it's a full-size printer. It will print borderless up to 8.5 by 11. Which is also super nice. It means you can get a full page photo at 8.5 by 11. So I use the Plus Glossy 2. I used to use the glossy photo paper for large prints as well, but I switched to matte recently just to try it. And this is what I've been using in my Project Life album when I have the large photos outside of the pockets. I felt like maybe they wouldn't pick up you know, the fingerprints and things as much. So I gave this a try, and it's okay. I'm thinking I'll probably go back to the glossy next time I buy some, or maybe I'll have some of each so that I have some options. But this is just fine. It does a fine job. It's really similar to the Epson presentation paper, if you've ever used that. It reminds me a lot of that. So I really prefer the glossy, and you can see I buy it in bulk. All of this stuff will be linked down below in case you'd like to pick some up for yourself. I'll have links to all of these things down below. So this is a huge pack. It does have the little smaller packs inside. You can also just buy this size if you just want to try this kind of paper. So super happy with it. I always make sure that my settings are correct, make sure that I'm printing best possible quality, and that I've set it to print on the photo paper that I'm using. So even if I'm not using a Canon paper, it'll still allow me to set it to like a glossy photo paper or a matte photo paper. If you're using Canon paper with a Canon printer, there are settings exactly for this type of paper. So there is that. I don't know that that makes much of a difference, but that's what I use when I print on these papers. So that is how I print my photos. Let me talk to you a minute about how I print other supplies at home. So if you've ever purchased a digital kit, you know you have to print them at home if you want to use them on physical scrapbooking. So I purchase a lot of digital kits actually because they're a bit cheaper, and it feels less wasteful to me because I can print the ones that I want and not print the ones that I don't want, the ones that I don't think that I'll use. So a lot of the things I've purchased from Futurecraft in the past have been digital. So here's just a big stack of cards. Some of these are purchased, like this one was purchased, but some of these are printed at home. So I used to print at home just using really flimsy cardstock, like what you could get at any big box store. I mean, I think even Walmart carries this kind of flimsy cardstock. That's what I was using, and I was always super unhappy with it. It just felt cheap to me. It didn't feel like the quality of the print was good, and I didn't like printing from home when I was using this, but I recently found a new cardstock to try. It is this right here. It comes in this big box, but it is 100-pound cover white cardstock. This is from Desktop Publishing Supplies. So it's just a big box of super heavy duty cardstock. And when I print my printables on that, they feel like something I've purchased. It feels a lot like Studio Calico cards, if you've ever had those. The quality of it, the weight of it feels really similar to me, but it just feels like it doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel like something I've printed at home. It feels like something I've purchased, and I'm much more likely to use my digital supplies when it feels good to use them, which may seem crazy, but it's true. So this is from the Inside and Out kit from Featurecraft and Brandy Kincaid. This is one I recently printed, and it's very heavy duty. You can see the print quality is really excellent compared to this. So I highly recommend this paper or another paper similar to it of heavy weight like that, because I think it makes such a huge difference when you're printing at home to have really good quality paper, and then you can really feel like your supplies are something special and that you want to use them. So that's how I print my digital supplies, both the 3x4 and 4x6 cards. I print on this paper now. But when it comes to embellishments, I do something a little bit different. So this is the glass half full cut apart sheet, the embellishment sheet. So when you buy this digitally, it's just in one big sheet, and then you have to fussy cut it or send it through your Silhouette to cut it for you. But these I print on different cardstock. I don't use that heavyweight cardstock because if I do, then it's much harder for me to fussy cut, and I do prefer to fussy cut instead of sending it to my Silhouette. It's much easier to cut this thinner paper, and I feel like it's not as noticeable when you have just an embellishment. I mean, this feels like any embellishment I would purchase. It doesn't feel cheap or flimsy to me, and for that I just use regular Neenah Bright White premium cardstock. This is I'm pretty sure I purchased this at Walmart, so it's readily available. It's 65-pound cover weight, and it does a fine job. I really like the Neenah because of the quality and the texture of it. It's very smooth, which if you've ever had cardstock that isn't smooth, then you know that there is definitely a difference. So that is what I do for embellishments, but I also do something a little different to kind of beef up my embellishments sometimes. So a lot of the Featurecraft digital kits and printable sheets come with these little embellishments that are in the shape of a circle. So when I print those, I print them on the Neenah, the 65-pound cardstock, and then I use a circle punch to punch them out. I think these are all 1-inch circle punches, and then I like to make them into little chipboard embellishments. And to do that, I just take some this is packaging, I'm pretty sure, from, well, for one thing, from the photo paper. It comes with this chipboard packaging. And one side is white and one side is brown. Lots of paper packs come with this packaging. I just take my 1-inch hole punch and just punch a bunch of them, and then when I have a printable that has these circle bits in it, like this one, then I just take just take a glue stick and add it to the cardstock circle. I always make sure I use the white side because then you get the most true color on your printed piece, and sometimes I'll add 2 if I want it a little bit thicker. And that gives you a chipboard embellishment, a homemade chipboard embellishment, just like this one. So there are 2 layers of chipboard here, and then the printable. And then to make it look a little bit more like something I purchased, I just take a bone folder or something similar. I actually lost my bone folder. I'm not sure where it is, but this came with a set of rub-ons. And if you just take it and rub around the edge, like I'll take the edge of the tip of my bone folder and just kind of rub it around the edge of the the circle, then it kind of gives you that rounded edge like you get when you buy a chipboard set that's been punched. So it just looks a little bit more like a real chipboard piece that you purchased and not something you just glued together. And it's just a tiny little finishing touch that I think makes a huge difference in your final product. And then, you know, you use these just like chipboard. You can just use a glue runner, you can use liquid glue, or you can just use like a glue stick, the same glue stick you use to adhere these together. So they work just like regular chipboard. You just have to add your own adhesive then. So yeah, that is how I print all the things from home, and I'm really happy with how it's working out for me so far. I actually think I might go back and reprint some of these just because I feel like I'll get a much better quality with the new paper that I'm using. So these are all the supplies I'm using for Week in the Life, not for this year, for last year, because I'm trying to catch up on that before I start this year's. And I have a video, I think, posted today. It should be available right now. In fact, I'll link it below so that you can find it, talking about how I'm going to use all of these supplies for my 2018 Week in the Life album. So I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any questions about anything, please feel free to leave a comment below. I will always get back to you that way. And thank you for watching. I'll see you back here soon.